Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and before I do start, I do want to say something. Now, before I do even get into the review, a lot of people who are watching this series have probably been around since I last uploaded. They are wanting to know what happens and how this story will end. I am going to be including some things in the review that I remember, some things I've gone over, and some of the more important parts of the story. So, with that being said, it's been a while. I can recall a lot of it, but I had to go over a lot. And I do plan to try and continue to upload to the series a lot more. So this part may be a little dicey for the review. Now then, with that being said, let's begin. We had Izuku Midoriya, who he's a smart zombie. However, he's a little different. He came back to the group after 1 month, what he thought, where he was presumed dead. Deku thought the same day he was infected, he drove that truck into the hive. Then he crawled out later that night. He tried to figure out what happened. He's this new type of variant. He can think for himself. He has enhanced powers. And he met Sir Night-Eye. But that didn't turn out too well. Sir Night-Eye, yeah, he didn't like what Izuku was. He's been watching Izuku for some time. He had glimpses. He could see what Deku could turn into, see what the world turns into with this new species of man. Now, Homo necrosis. That's a very strange way of putting it, but that's what Sir Night-Eye believes. Quirk singularity is not what will kill them, it's what will make them. He's clearly lost his mind, and Deku could see that. He ran. He went to UA because it was the only place he could think of that could be safe. No one's there. It is full of infected. It has someone who might understand his situation. He met with Mina and stayed there for a month and began to start, slowly but surely, encountering his own group again. But Izuku, yeah. Nejire caught him, and he decided to reveal it was him. He talked with Bakugo. He talked with Nejire. He even tried to find out what was happening with Setsuna. But he found out it's been more than just 1 month. Where he thought it was a month, it's actually been 5. It did not make sense. He was gone for far longer than he believed. You can understand now why it was a surprise to see him alive. Not just that, what remains of the Hero Association lock themselves underground in a doomsday bunker. And that's a lot more shit to unpack, especially because Endeavor, he's alive, along with members of the Todoroki family and other people who got there. This means quite a bit. I mean, Todoroki's family is alive, and who knows who else. But they encountered a few things that were quite dicey, especially the former number 2 hero himself. Now then, with that being said, let's currently pick up with Nejire. Nejire, she does not sit there. A lot going through her mind. She's got a cup of whiskey. She is drinking it neat. No need for a mixer. Some of it's already gone bad. It's gone flat, and hey, that's just a waste of space in her cup right now. There's a lot going through her mind. The guy she loved, the guy who has saved her life, has covered her ass, who has done a lot of messed up shit to keep them safe. 5 months ago, he died. And then 2 nights ago, 3 days ago, he was standing in front of her but didn't look the same. He was different. Her looking out the window, a lot going through her head. Their farms should be doing better today. There's more rain, more water, and a lot happening. But what exactly does that mean? What does it mean for them? How do they tell Setsuna about this? She talked to Bakugo, put more stress on her. That's gonna do a lot of fucked up things. How would she react? This traveler that they talked about, who is a smart zombie, they've made her quite aware. He's not a threat, but he wants to work with them. She's highly skeptical of it, talking about how bad it could be for the group, how much worse it could be. If he's at UA, that means they need to kill him. They need to get him out of the picture so they can get to those robots. Babaku's been against this. Her bring her glass up to her lips before going to knock it back and completely drain the glass. 3 shots of whiskey going down with a mighty burn before she does gonna stop. Bring the glass down into her hands, beginning to fumble it and thinking a lot more about it. What would he do? What would Izuku do? Those were the questions she always asked herself. He'd do what he needs to. He'd adapt. Make sure they're safe. They've got food. They've got the MREs from Jizuki's bunker. They're getting plenty of water. Okay. They have electricity. They have heat. They're paying their tab. But Bakugo's sitting there with a thumb up his ass. He's gone out, but he hasn't gone out enough. She can see it. The injury from Denki is still lasting on his mind. He does deal with pain. So what does she do? Talk with Izuku? Fuck no. This can't be the same guy. Because the implications of that... Her mind is in a frenzy in itself. She could see it in his face. His goddamn face. So much care. So much empathy. Where the fuck did it come from? Her turning, chugging the glass across the room, before someone outside does get to hear it crash. Currently them going to walk over, opening the door and talking about it. May going to try and ask, exactly, poking her head into the room, if she's done with whatever she's doing? Sorry. I've got, I've got a lot on my mind. Listen, if this is about that zombie guy or whatever, I get you being pissed off. But didn't you say he was an ally? Or trying to be someone we can trust? I did. Her gonna step in, closing the door before we're gonna set something down for one of her newer projects. Asking about it. Okay, so if that's the case, shouldn't they try to work with this guy? I mean, yeah, they can be skeptical, but he's a smart zombie. Just do what anyone would do. Her bring her hand up and making a gun motion to her skull, talking about how Izuku aimed for the brain on that one that killed Ochako. So just take out the head. That's all they gotta do. I mean, essentially, they're just the nervous system. So destroy the brain that controls the nervous system. And they go kaput. Nidre turning, staring at May, since she never thought of it like that. Her talking about it. Melissa's dad talked about a lot of things when he tried to study what he could before he passed. Melissa studied a lot of it too. So there is that. She tries to somewhat quiz her on it sometimes. A way to see if their minds are sharp. Though she usually tries to get her to get some sleep, and that part sucks. Though they've been having to ration the coffee a bit. You know, can't make a fresh pot till the next morning. I know, but it's not just that. There's a lot of decisions that come with working with this guy. Not just the fact that he might turn on us. Her hesitating on that before turning to May, talking about it. The people of the dam aren't just military. There's a civilian presence there. Really? Yeah. Yeah, sorry. It's just a little overwhelming sometimes. You might want to catch your breath. I know. I know. If we work with the heroes, we might be able to figure something out. That's what Bakugo thinks. If we work with this guy, we can take over the power grid. Get everyone working together. Maybe clear out the crazies and infected. Then make this city a city again. At least begin to rebuild. But then there's everything else out there. That's the worst part. It seems like you're trying to hide something. Hmm? I'm just saying. That look on your face. You're not just concerned about the zombie guy, are you? You're concerned about a lot more. Hmm? It's the civilians the military has. Who do they have upkeeping the dam? Who do they have controlling the power? What do they know? It's more than just that. If we go forward and make that robot army move on the dam, we have to be careful. How do we know they won't just blow up the power source because they can't control it? I get the situation you're going for. What do you mean? Because you can't walk over the bridge, you burn it so no one else can. Because I can't be king of the castle, I'd rather roll over the ash. Or at least blow it the fuck up. Something like that. Right? I guess. Currently, Nejire continuing to talk about it. The whole thing Bakugo wants to do, and the problems in her own plan. It's got her hesitating. Though we do actually have Chizuki. Chizuki is still trying to pore over all the data he has from Izuku. Knowing it's Izuku does also begin to fill in a few gaps in his knowledge. He's asked And apparently he received his power a little differently from what some people have told him. His wasn't purely genetic, information passed from parent to child. Someone's told him a little differently. And we do currently have over with him, as Izuku does sit there in UA, the building he's tried to fortify. The building he's been trying to prepare in case he ever does get those guests. It has him wondering. Currently him sitting in a room where the windows, they haven't been destroyed. He can hear the pouring rain. It echoes through the halls where the windows, they're cracked, they're shattered. And where the rooms, they still have that damage from the infected. It's been loud. The only thing he can hear, the only thing he can focus on. He's gotten more accustomed to these senses of his, though they're not too good. Him bringing his hands up to his ears, still trying to understand a few things. Before he does, suck in a breath and hold it, just trying to not do anything. And there currently is his heartbeat, it pounding on his chest before he has to let out that breath and feel his blood somewhat steady back out again. It continuing to beat faster and faster before he's going to finally look up. Him looking around for anything else to do, anything that can help him. And there is currently Mina, who does sit there in the room. Her turning to Izuku and trying to ask him if he's okay. Before he does, go stand and start pacing back and forth. Before he does a turn and bring his hand up. Him smacking himself in the face and trying to get used to the sound. The sound of pouring rain. He doesn't have to ignore it. Just get used to it. Like some of the other sounds he's heard. Like the zombies he locked outside and the sound of his own blood. The sound of his own heartbeat. The sound of his own breath. The sound of flesh tearing. And the smell of... Ugh, it's not easy to get used to. Ignore what he's eating. Ignore what he hears. They fade into the background over time, but this goddamn rain doesn't want to. It just does not want to. And that pisses him off. But there's bigger problems. The people at the dam are still alive. That on his mind. Izuku going to fall backwards into a wall, slowly moving down it before having the thought go through his head about what he can and can't do. Enhance strength, durability, senses. Bullets bounce off of his skin. But then there's the infected. He's a smart zombie. He knows what some of them can do. It's a theory in his head, but putting it to the test would definitely be a lot more dangerous. There are variants of zombies who have tried to attack him, but the results have definitely been varying in success. So, there definitely is that. He's had to put them down, do a lot more. You can still see these weird flashes and glimpses in his dreams, though. Some of them don't make so much sense. They're from before. What should he do? It just doesn't make sense at all. Just focus on anything but the rain. Figure this out. Think. Hmm. Someone bring their hands down. Deku looking up and bringing his hands up. For stopping and seeing that it's Mina. Him immediately going for her head. As Mina does a freeze, her hands laid on Izuku's forearms. Before Deku does lower his hands back down, thinking about what he was about to do. Go for the head. It's a kill shot. Her sitting there, before turning and looking at the fire, asking him if he's hungry. No, no, I'm not. You sure? Yeah. Bring his hand up, thinking about it. There's still a lot more tests Chiziki wants to do. He knows that. His blood is special. He's special. That doesn't make sense, though. Has he just been eating consistently? Hang on a sec. He hears the sounds of the infected outside, but that's them moving around. Turning his head, looking at Mina. But then there's her. She's... Deku, trying to focus. Trying to listen in for Mina's heartbeat. Though he does hear it. These short inhales of breath. The slow rhythm. It's there. Almost like someone slowly pounding a drum. It's faint. But she is beating a heart. But then there's his. His is faster. Stronger? Hers is weak. Okay, so there's a lot that can cause that. Okay. This means quite a bit of things. He's special. An abnormality. Maybe you should test that out. Deku bring a finger to his lips before he has to fully stand. Currently, him gonna walk out of the room, and we do actually have back over at the base, where Nedre does sit there, thinking about how to handle a few things. Before someone, they do to knock on her door. Before they do to open it, and she does sit there. Currently, her a bit drunk off of her ass, as Chiziki, he does step in. Before closing the door, asking her if it's a bad time. What do you want? I could come back later. Who gives a fuck? What do you want? I'm gonna leave a note. But let's put it this way. We both know something's bad. We're gonna need to make a choice. A lot of you don't seem to like to make the morally compromised choice. So that might not be in the cards. You're all children. Though you're practically an adult. I need research. I need information. The blood I've gotten from Izuku, it tells me quite a lot of things. I need more. I can study him, find out what to do, see what I can do. You're a doctor, right? Hmm? Yes. What are the chances I'm saying that it's him? What do you mean? You lock yourself in the lab. You you obsess over information. The way you're researching Izuku. You've done it before, haven't you? Yes, I've researched the undead. Though I have no sympathy for them, they aren't human anymore. Though I have been trying to do more of that compassion. The human element, it's something I have trouble understanding. Ever since this all went down, bring his hand up to his missing limb, talking about it. He isn't trying to be more empathetic, but he knows already he's a bad man. He's not someone he thinks will live a very long life. And that was before all this. Though now, he's sure of it. If one day the infection suddenly disappears, it won't be a coincidence. Either all life in Japan may die, everything in the world might die, or hey, maybe some god above decides to grant them fucking mercy. He doesn't see a lot of things like that happening though. Eri needs someone she can rely on. He's put her through enough. Right. She seems happy. As happy as a child her age could be, given the circumstances. Can you make a cure? That's being very optimistic. And I think we both understand that. Worth a shot. In theory, an inoculation. Possibly a vaccine, maybe. But a cure? I don't believe so. Men in the past have tried to cure multiple diseases. The men and women of our era, they had a technology that's far more advanced than that. And they couldn't stop quirks. This is different. Mutant types were theorized to be incurable. But this is more than that. But with Izuku's cells, there's a possibility I can do more. I need to do more research, fully understand it. That is what I need to do. Shizuki bring his hand up, telling her, Nejire and him can work together. There can be a compromise to all of this. She wants to kill the people at the dam. So how about they make a bit of a deal? Currently him beginning to try and tell her a few things. Before Nejire does start to listen. Since she's unknowingly talking to a madman. Not just somebody who tried to help a little girl in the apocalypse. Now, with that being said, we do currently cut back to Izuku, who does stand face to face with a deceiver. Currently, it sitting there before he's going to bring his hand up. The slice he made in his hand beginning to heal, and the creature staring at him. Before it does, it'll open its mouth, and its tongue does begin to pick up his scent, still covered in the fresh blood of Zuko poured inside. Before it does make somewhat growl, and Deku, he can feel something different, beginning to stare at it. The creature going to go back down onto all fours, before going to lay flat on the ground, submitting to the person who just gave it a bit more, let's just say, of an increase, an enhancement, you can call it. Now, Deku, he does still stand there, looking at this creature before others around it. They do begin to perceive it differently. They do just stare at this creature, looking at it and being intrigued, though curious. One creature going to step forwards, bring its hands out for it to finally freeze. And it does get a look around confused, before going to ignore the creature entirely. And Deku, he does stare at that, adding that to the growing list of things that are intriguing about this, that are different. Him gonna turn, making his way back inside UA. As the creature, it does gonna stand, beginning to follow its master. And Deku, he does a turn staring at that, before he does allow it into the school and lock the doors behind him. Since this, it needs to be studied more. But what else could he do? He used it on a variant. What about a zombie? What about giving his blood to somebody else, like him? What if there's more to this? Izuku stepping into a room, before turning and seeing Mina. Ask her one simple question. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day, and I'll catch you guys in the next part.